All right, so here I am with my daughter Danielle, driving the Batmobile, heading out to a meeting of the anonymous type where I have been asked to be a speaker, so that should be fun. And here we are downtown. And what is that, pray tell?
That's amazing. That's, what's his name from
Jeopardy!
Look
Alex
at the realism
Trebek.
on that thing.
That was one of the most amazing murals I've ever seen. That's got to be 4 stories at least. It's huge.
And it's,
Look at how big it is.
the colors, the hyper-realism is just...
I always wondered how they did that sort of stuff. So anyways, we were talking about, well, you texted me today and you said that you sort of prayed and meditated last night on a particular question and you had some insights. And I said, well, why don't you share it in the video on our way to the meeting?
Cool.
So give us the synopsis.
So,
Can I give you the highlight notes that I wrote?
yeah, hit me
Just so
with
you
them.
know where we're going. Entrepreneur is life by design, trust the process, the journey. That's what I wrote. A bigger vision, even when you don't feel connected. Societal rules. I wrote homogenized. In other words, culture is being very homogenized. There's not a lot of individuality. And I wrote sheep. That's me, not you. And brave and responsibility. So, yeah, and you said something about writing too. But anyways, yeah, so what was your insight? Give it to us.
So the first insight being, and just want to tap on the idea of your subconscious mind, right?
Go for it.
It's so funny when we're showering or when we're taking a bath, sometimes the biggest answers come to us.
It's always water.
Yeah. Haven't you said water is very therapeutic?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Maybe that's where the idea of a baptism sort of has its roots as a mythological ritual, a symbolic ritual. Who knows?
there's something to be said there, and it really is true. So
what was your insight?
So my big insight was the idea that I started thinking about entrepreneurialism, and I felt
Inspired?
Yeah, I felt like I can absolutely create a business based on my own life. I can design it so that it supports my own life.
Can I make an observation?
Yeah.
That sounds like what you're saying is being true to yourself, being authentic to your own vision, and that
Yeah.
the way you normally perceived it, and I'm paraphrasing what you've said earlier, that you feel overwhelmed, that we feel driven and compelled to do 101 things and to work 16 hours a day, which creates stress.
And so I started thinking a lot about that, how a lot of people, and I've fallen into this trap too, we look at someone online or social media and we're like, okay, I need to be a cookie. We subconsciously think I need to be doing exactly what they're doing to be successful. But the truth is there is no one formula for anyone, and we can define success based on our own terms, like you said, being authentic.
So that's the solution.
Being
True to yourself.
true to yourself, because
If you were to say that's the cookie cutter.
and
So there is a cookie cutter,
so
but it's all about being authentic.
and how does that manifest? Well, one, when you're posting on social media or you're sharing your message, if you're not being real, people will not only sense that, but you're gonna feel gross inside, because
Gross inside. It's
You're-
stressed.
but the second that you step into that, like, fear of being just yourself, whether it's on social media or the way you run business, I think that's when fulfillment comes in, because you're
What do you mean by fulfillment?
a sense of deep fulfillment, meaning contentment with who you are, and just
Okay, let's be practical about this. Now, you said something about how you get excited about it and then it gets going, but then you sort of lose excitement and life takes over, which is what we all deal with. Remember that point?
Oh, yes.
And I gave you that Joseph Campbell story, which I'll tell you about again here.
So, in terms of being true to yourself, you have to. Okay, and I realized this in my therapy session tonight, actually. So it's all coming full circle.
You're in therapy?
Can
You
we cut
admitted
that part out?
No,
No shame. Therapy is good for you.
I'm all for it.
And
Do you want to share about that?
I want to share my insight because it relates exactly to what you're talking about. So to be true to yourself is to follow through not only on commitments to other people, but I think maybe more importantly, it's to commit to yourself. And what does that mean? It means following through on the things you promised yourself, exercise, good habits, putting in the work that you know you need to do for your own business.
Okay, what about the big vision you were talking about? And it's so easy to lose track of that. And you know how life takes over. You know what I mean? You were talking about that earlier, and I thought it was really genius. And
Oh, right.
and the way I'm connecting the dots, and you may not be able to see it the same way, is you had this external idea of what success is, but then you had the realization last night after meditating on it that it's if you just follow the things that you feel you can personally contribute and that are genuinely connected to yourself and stay connected to that big vision, you will get there it'll feel more authentic and it'll feel way less stressful. Does that make sense? That's what I saw. That's what that's what I heard. In my dad ears. Like when I hear your 26-year-old brain spewing out stuff, it's like inspiring, and that's what I hear.
So, yeah, what I was saying earlier, we had been recording a previous video, and I was saying we get so excited when we get these goals, and it's amazing, and you feel passionate, and you're just so driven, and you think to yourself, nothing is going to hold me back, right? We all can relate to how inspired you feel when you get an idea, a passion, or a passionate feeling to pursue something. You're like, I'm going to record this song. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to start this business. But we tend to get caught up in the everyday. Maybe someone says something that questions our dream.
So what's the solution?
Being true to yourself and discipline, right? And creating decisions, even if you don't feel that inspiration throughout the whole process, because fear is inevitable.
So you got to have a big
Doubt
goal.
is inevitable.
Big vision.
You have to have the vision, but know that even if you feel like fearful, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. That means that you really care about it, right?
True.
And you have to make small, practical, and tiny decisions that make you feel good and make you feel empowered. And then you get there, you get to the goal, and you're like, okay, that was harder than I thought, but at least
But it was
I
worth it.
stayed disciplined.
Okay, I'm checking my notes. We have to wind it up here. We're coming up at the 10-minute mark. I think we covered everything. So I want to finish with what I told you earlier about Joseph Campbell. What you said reminded me a lot about Joseph Campbell when he talked about marriage. Marriage is, he said it was an impulse. You know, you're attracted to somebody, you fall in love, and there's all those oceanic feelings, and you just...
I'm going to be with them forever.
all that stuff. And then you get married, and then it's an ordeal. So he said marriage is an impulse, and then it's an ordeal. Well, doing a project in the way you're describing it is exactly that too. It's an impulse. You love the idea, but then it becomes an ordeal. So you have to set up, in my opinion, structures and or systems in place to help you be committed to see through the ordeal and all the challenges that are going to, and the doubts and the fears that are going to be thrown your way. You know, because in marriage you have we have thousands of years of ritual and processes in place to help the couple maintain a sense of commitment. I mean, for many it's a spiritual thing, for many it's a societal thing, community thing, and the desire is, and the initial goal is a lifetime commitment. Commitment is so important, so you got to be committed to your goals, just like you got to be committed to that sort of thing, and set up whatever you can, because you're kind of on your own, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a very it can be a very scary and alienating journey.
You're kind of on your own.
But the reward is like
Unbelievable. So that's where we're going with that. That was that the insight you had?
yeah, stay
Authentic. If you're authentic, okay, I just want to add this. Sorry to cut you off. This is what I heard in my dad brain. I heard you say, if I do something that I really feel personally passionate about versus something that I feel society has an expectation on me, that's going to really help with my level of commitment big time.
And it means saying no to the things that you don't excite you or align with your vision, and that can be very scary.
And discipline.
But it's good for you in the long run.
Okay,
Stay real.
we're out of here.